session. So let me just okay. So Wireshark tips and tricks. So earlier we thought that we will do a 1-hour session on Wireshark and cover as much as possible, but when we started creating this session, we found out that there are too many things in Wireshark which are very helpful, and which a network engineer or a security analyst or someone who is very interested in packet analysis should know actually. So there are many features in Wireshark, and so we thought that we'll split this into many sessions. So what is the plan is we'll have a series of sessions on Wireshark, which is a very interesting tool and which is continuously developed. And so instead of just rushing and try to cover as many features as possible, so we split this into many parts. So first one is on capturing and some very useful features which will enhance one's productivity when he or she is working on Wireshark. Okay. We'll discuss some how to customize Wireshark, how to start a capture, how to start multiple captures, how to save it to a file automatically. Many things which we will discuss. So if you have Wireshark with you, you can play around with it along with me, or you can watch it later actually. So Wireshark is easy to download and play around with it. And we'll also go into advanced packet analysis. So I'll show what we can do with Wireshark just as a sneak preview or a teaser for the upcoming sessions. Then we will cover all those things actually. So, but this session is like what we'll cover is what are the capture filter options. Okay, like what we can do with captures, and because capture itself has a lot of options. So Wireshark give you a lot of options. So we will discuss that. Then there is a preference field in or the preference section in Wireshark. Excuse me, section in Wireshark, which covers a lot of things. So a lot of features of Wireshark can be customized. We'll see that. Then we'll also see how to save, which I personally felt that means as when I was beginning with Wireshark, I didn't know that this feature was available, and I used to send complete PCAP. Then when we did some research, we found out that this feature is better rather than sending a big packet capture. We can send selected packets. Okay. We'll also see coloring. Coloring can be used very effectively to enhance the productivity, means the analysis part. So it can help us or aid us in the analysis. We'll see that, and we'll also see the timing based on how much time is remaining. Okay. So and then also we'll see what's coming in the next section. So what I will do is let me minimize this, and let me go and search for my Wireshark if I type properly. Okay. So we have the Wireshark app. So I'll download it. Okay. So this is the Wireshark thing. So you can see that I'm in a Cisco office. So and then I'm connected via these are my virtual boxes thing which are NATed. So they are means they have a NAT interface with them. So they are actually sending some packets which are going through my Wi-Fi. So that's why there is some little bit of activity there. And this graph shows how much activity is happening on these interfaces. So I have around 5 interfaces. So you can see that there's activity in Wi-Fi. Okay, right now I'm not doing anything, but since I'm in the office, I'm connected to some device, and we are an IP version 6 network. So we might be getting some router advertisements and maybe solicitation messages, and also some proprietary protocol work might be happening there. So that is the Wi-Fi thing. So this is a very handy thing. So suppose you connect to means you open Wireshark and you don't see anything here. Okay. So then you see whether you have connected to the network or whether you have Wi-Fi access or whether you have access to the network. So this shows that if everything is like a straight line like this, means nothing is happening. So you will not get any packets. Okay, unless like you have a virtual thing and you have a tap interface kind of a thing where you are looping to yourself. So that is a very rare case actually. So this is the capture thing. So again, you see here there are many menu items in Wireshark. So if I click on capture, okay, and if I click on options, and it shows like there are a lot of input, okay, and it shows like what is the traffic, and this is very important here. If I just move this ahead. Okay, I don't have any filter as such now. Okay, and and all these are promiscuous mode. So it's up to you whether you want to have a promiscuous mode. Promiscuous mode is like even if the packet is not addressed to your machine, okay, or addressed to your NIC card, the MAC address on your NIC card, it still captures it, okay, and displays it. Wireshark is used like for network analysis, so usually they turn on the promiscuous mode. But if you're not worried about what other packets are going through your network and whether what other packets your network interface card is getting, then you can actually means uncheck that promiscuous mode. Okay. So we first let's do a default thing. So here our address. So I will just start the capture, okay, on this. So anyhow, my Wi-Fi is on, so I'll just start and just wait for some packets to come. Let me just did I select it properly? Okay, just let me come here and start the capture. We can also click here. Okay. So we got a lot of packets here. Okay, and if you see, just let me move. If you see, actually there are like TCP, UDP, and TLS. There are a lot of things which are happening here. Okay, so what we can also do is here you can see there is in the menu item you have a capture icon and you have a stop icon and you have a reload icon. So I'll click on the stop icon. Okay, and what I will do is I'll not save it. I'll say options. Okay, and what I will do is like again let me see some traffic. Okay, and then what I will do is I'll say only TCP. Okay, now let me actually you can see here when I type something the color changes. So here I'm selecting a capture filter, so I want only this particular traffic to be captured. Okay, so if I leave here, if there's something wrong, so it disappears. Okay, and I might have there is ARP here which I might have used previously. So let me, because I saw there was a lot of UDP TCP traffic, so let's say UDP. So means there's something wrong in what I'm typing, so I'll remove it and I'll say TCP. Okay, and let me see whether it gives this thing, the color. Okay, it's not taking it. Just give me a second. And just let me do it once again. So I have to select it. Okay. Okay. So what it says is, since there are many interfaces here, I have to first select one interface, otherwise it's confused for what interface it's doing. So if you see here, you can see the green thing which says that this filter is fine. So as you saw earlier, if I type something wrong, it will not take it. So it will say some the maroon or the orange, whatever color you name it, that's going to come. I mean, something is wrong, it will not work. And also I cannot see the start button. So that's why means I have to select this. So I selected this, okay, and then I will say TCP only, okay, and then let's see whether only TCP comes. Okay, and you see TLS because it works on TCP. So you can see only TCP. I cannot see any UDP here. Okay, so what we can do is like let's again stop this, and let's go here to options once again. Select this. That is very critical. The mistake I didn't select any interface. I thought it will automatically select. It won't. So then what we'll do is we'll say UDP. Okay, and then see whether, because there might be why UDP traffic might be there is because of the DNS queries. Okay, and if it doesn't come, then we'll give a DNS query. Okay, there is a lot of UDP, RTCP because it works on UDP. Okay, so if I just scroll down, so there is UDP. So Wireshark has a protocol dissector, so it knows that this RTCP is again it's running on UDP, so it's giving UDP. So even MDNES is again multicast DNS because I'm running Windows, you know. So Windows use multicast DNS usually to find out the DNS server. So like here, it's also dependent on UDP. So all this is only UDP, okay, and even SSDP. So you might see other protocols, but the transport protocol for all these is UDP, okay. So there is UDP here. So that is like if I stop this thing, and also there is like it's automatically as going scrolling. So we'll stop this thing, and then we'll go to capture and options. And here you can give this capture filter. So if I start once again, let me remove this, okay, and let me start with the entire thing. Okay, so you will see a lot of UDP, TCP, and all those things. Here you can see a display filter. Okay, let me stop this to save my buffer. So you can see a display filter here. I can type TCP here. So it's not that UDP is not being captured here. This is a display filter. So once the packets have been captured, if you want to see a particular protocol or a particular field of the protocol, you will use display filter. The difference between the display filter and capture filter is in the capture filter, you are telling Wireshark to capture the packets or the protocols which you are interested. So it will not capture anything else. Say when I say UDP, it will not capture TCP. But in display filter, it's not that. You have a capture and you want to further filter it on particular thing, then you will use display filter. So if you just start Wireshark by default, it will not, and if you don't have any capture filter, it will capture everything which is going on your wire. Then you have to use display filter. Okay. But if you are very specific, you know that this particular traffic I want to monitor and this particular protocol in that particular traffic I want to monitor, then we can use capture filter. So that's the difference between capture filter and display filter. So don't get confused. Display filter is a very vast and wide topic. Not many people use capture filter. They use display filter, but it depends on one's way of using Wireshark. Some people, because if it's a busy network like Cisco's network, means if I just use capture filter without, if I just try to capture everything without a capture filter, then the size of my PCAP will be huge. Okay, so and then that becomes very difficult. So then if I'm a network or a security analyst in Cisco, then I will create a capture filter which will capture only what I want. And what I feel is creating a problem, or what I feel that I should have a deeper look into. Okay. So if you have any questions, just put it there. Okay. And echo is there. So let's again go to capture because there are a lot of things here. Okay. Now we covered this capture filter, and there's something called as manage interfaces where we'll cover it in an advanced Wireshark session where it shows how Wireshark is referring this. And if you know, we also have pipes. We can create pipes, and also we can do Wireshark monitoring on remote interface. So we'll cover this later. We'll also cover this Berkeley packet filter thing. later. So we covered almost all the things. So if you, the most important thing is you can filter here, okay, with the thing. The mistake I did, don't do it. Select the interface, otherwise it will not work. And also promiscuous mode, it's if I remove this, and let's see what happens if I remove this, and if I say TCP, or let me just say TLS, if it gives me, no, TCP, and let me start it. So this is addressed only to me, so I'm this address, so it is either addressed to me or I am sending the packet, so I am not getting any other packets. So if you see, it's like only if I go to statistics, and if I go to endpoints, because it captured everything, so it's not for this. So if I go to statistics and conversations, you can see here like I am the only the only PC here, okay, and I'm targeting, I'm communicating with others. So we'll discuss statistics and endpoints later. I just wanted to show that we are the only one, and I'm being given this IP version 6, and I've been given this IP version 4. So now let's stop it. And if I say capture options, and if I say enable this, and if I again say start, and after some time, based on who communicates with me, I will get other addresses. Okay, so I got 20 here. So if I go to statistics, and if I go to conversations, so there will be some address which will come up later. Okay, so it depends on whom I'm and what I'm getting. Okay, so again, it's not that if I enable promiscuous mode, I'll get everything, because we are in a switched mode. So and I have to see the broadcast, and I'm in a VLAN. So it depends on what kind of setup I'm in. So even if I enable promiscuous mode, I'm unable, means I might not get any other packets based on how my switch configuration has been done. Okay. Okay, so let me stop this, and let me go show you some other thing in capture. Okay. Now we have options here. Okay. So options, if you see here, update list of packets in real time, we saw that it automatically scrolls that. So this, if you want, you can keep it. If you uncheck it, then you have to scroll down, or you have to refresh it. And resolve MAC addresses, which will help us in seeing that particular thing. So let's start one, and then it will be very helpful. So what I will do now is I will say I'll start the capture. So let me go here and select Wi-Fi, and let me remove this capture filter. You can keep it, but I'll just remove it. So we will say stop the capture. Means understand. Let's think about a scenario. You have been attacked by a malware, and you are seeing some peculiar packets. Along with that, you are seeing your normal traffic. So in that case, you will say like, I want to see some first 10 packets. That's it. Okay. Stop capture after 10 packets. Okay. So let's see what happens if we do this now. Okay. So it captured only 10 packets. Okay. And we didn't give anything, so it captured everything. So it captured the first 10 packets only. So this is one handy tool. So if I come here and options, so I can stop automatically with 10 packets. Now if I come here, if I go here to this particular thing, and if I come here, okay, you can see that as that MAC address has actually the first 3 bytes is the equipment who has got that bulk. So it's actually the company which has got that particular first 3 bytes. So that is what it is. It is resolving. So this says the vendor ID, what they say. So intercolor AB is 1, and the destination is Cisco. So VC00C means Cisco. Okay. Now if you don't, how it resolved is, how did Wireshark resolve this is because of this setting. So we went to options, and we said resolve MAC addresses. So if I remove this, and let me say I just want to capture 2 packets. Okay. And let's start it once again. So if I now go here, and if I see here destination, so it has not resolved. Okay, if you see, as soon as I click it, it has not resolved. It depends. It depends on how you want to, whether it's useful. It's definitely useful, because if you have 100 packets and you want to know from which packet or which MAC address it's coming, or whether it belongs to your means particular setup, then it is useful actually to enable it. Enabling MAC address resolution is always useful, because it gives you have to just concentrate on the last three last three hexadecimal addresses, rather than the complete the 48 means all the six means what to say hex states actually. So here I can here I have to see all this hexadecimal. If I enable MAC address resolution, then I can see only this last third part, this 24 bytes. Okay, so then let me again go to capture options, and I'll come to this file later. And if I go say for example you are interested in a particular set of traffic. Okay, so like you want to see the first 100 kilobytes, or the first if I click here, you can even have to go to gigabytes. So let's say that I'm interested in, say, first 100 kilobytes of the capture. I just want to see the first 100 kilobytes of the capture. So and I'll say click resolve MAC addresses. I'll not click resolve network names and transport names. We will come back to it later. So we'll say start. Okay, and this is like it stops after some time. When it becomes 184, it stops. So if you see here, the blue icon means the capture is still running, but the thing is like means we asked it to stop means after 100 kilobytes. Okay. Now you can do it, and you can actually do some analysis on this. Otherwise, what we can also do is, if I go to options, I can say stop capture after, say, and we can, okay, let me do this and then we'll see. I'll say stop the capture after 5 seconds. Okay, whatever the 5 seconds of capture all the packets in the network and stop it. So let me start it. And this here, it's slightly confusing, because when I clicked on 5 seconds, it exactly takes that, the Wireshark takes exactly that particular time. So, and when it stops it, we might not stop exactly at 5 seconds. We'll stop it a little bit earlier, because Wireshark has to close some data structures associated with packet capture. So, and it has to make sure that the capture ends. So it needs that particular finite period of time. It will not do it exactly at that particular microsecond or nanosecond. So if we just scroll down, and here you can see the time, okay, 00. So if I just go to the, I can go to the end here, I think. Okay, so somehow this is not working. So let me just, no worries. So if I go here, so here it did 1 second. So again, it depends. It's not accurate when I say exactly at 5. So what happened is it tried to stop at 5. There were some packet captures. So when it actually stopped it, it went a little bit ahead. So that's suppose we can also check it. Let's do it once again, and let's say stop. By default it takes 60. So let's give 2 seconds, and let's start it. So here it stopped at 174. So it depends on what is happening and exactly where it has to stop. So the stopping time need not be accurate. So since the stopping time, it's actually this. Accuracy depends on what precision you want. So if you want to be very precise at where you stop, then actually give a bigger time. Say if you want the first 10 seconds of capture, give 12 seconds. Or if you want the first 50 microseconds, you can give 80 microseconds. So even if it captures a little bit, it won't harm. Okay. Now one question which often comes when I was testing this is, what happens if you give both? Okay. So let's say this is okay. This anyhow this will take precedence. So I will say first 50 kilobytes. Okay, and let me say first 5 seconds. So what happens if I give both of this? Okay, and let's see what happens. So it stops here, even though it stopped here. So if I click here, you can see that it has stopped it. So otherwise, this icon would have been red, would have been active. So here you see like it stopped at 0.35. So it takes, when I give both size and time, it takes the first one which gets completed. So in our case it was like the kilobyte. So we can test it in a different way. We will give 2 seconds, and we'll give 100 kilobytes. Okay, and let me give 1 second because Cisco traffic, too much traffic. So let's see. So here it stopped at 0.400 because I gave 1 second. Sometimes it feels like I have to stop here. Okay, so it takes whichever is less. Now I'll come to this output in a very shortly, and what we'll do is let's come here. This is a handy one, and okay, let's do this. So let's say options and say remove all these things, and say I will capture first 10 packets. Start. Okay, now if I go now here, and if I say save as, I will save all the 10 packets. So if I go to desktop, means if I save it, all these 10 packets will be saved. Okay. Now, is there any question? Okay. So let me just close this chat box, and let me cancel. Now what I will do is, if I go to file, and I want to select some packets. Okay. So export specified packets. If I select this, come down, and again I'll go to desktop because my default folder is this, the traffic which I captured. I wanted to show you from Marvel Analysis, so I have to change it. So here you can see that the captured packets is all packets, and displayed packets is all. Okay. There are many ways to select packets which you want in a different file. Okay. So what I will do is I'll just cancel this, and I will add a filter here. I will say, let me say TCP because there is only, I will add a display filter. So this is not a capture filter, so this is a display filter. So still all those things are there. So you'll understand the difference very soon right now. Okay, so if I, what I have to do is, I have to press enter. Okay. Otherwise it will not take it automatically. So if I say export specified packets, you can see here captured is 10, displayed is 4. Now I can select this and save this. So I will say displayed, and I will say go to desktop, and I will say T1 and save it. Okay, and I will clear this so that we know exactly we are not seeing the one. So let me minimize this, and let me open T1. So we see only 4. So when I send this to someone else, he will not see the other traffic which we are seeing. So it's not the only thing which we can do with saving. So if I come back, and if I go to file, export specified packets, and let's say that I want to, there is selected packet. So if I say selected packet, only the packet which is selected, only one packet will come. What I mean is, if I say this packet is selected now, the fourth packet, how to select? Just click on that packet. Okay, so 7th packet. So let's see whether the 4th packet comes. So it's like length is 76. How to remember? It's a 4th packet. So 118 is the length, and then after removing all the headers is 76. Okay, so file, and if I say save as, so sorry, export specified packets, and I'll say selected packet, and I will say yes, and save it on my desktop. Okay, and minimize this and go to S. So we see only this selected packet. Okay, But selecting only one packet doesn't make any sense. Like it is just if only one packet is creating a problem, and it's very difficult for the analyst to analyze without even if the one packet is creating problem, he or she cannot analyze by seeing packets before that packet arrived or packets which arrived after that selected packet was arrived. So he has to see traffic before and after. So it doesn't make any sense having one selected packet, but that option they have given it. So we'll come back to Wireshark, and what I can do here is, say for example, I'm interested in these packets. So I'll come here and I will say right click and I'll say I'm mark. So this, but I'm marking this packet 10, and I'm interested in packet number 4. I'll say mark, right click on that, and I'll come to 8 and I will say right click here and I will say mark. So I'm interested in 4, 10 and 8. So I marked these 3 packets. So what I will do is I'll say file and I'll come to export specified packets, and here I'll say mark packets. So you can see here the mark number actually changed to 3. Okay. So, and you can also see, I'll come to this first to last mark. So but you can see here it actually said 3 mark packets. I think if I cancel it, it is 4, 10 and 8. Okay. So if I go to file and export specified packets and I select it, you have to select it, otherwise it will select all packets, and you say have to select 3 packets and I give it a name. So here I'll just, to save time, I'll say M and go back and open this M. So you can see these 3 packets. Okay, it says as 1, 2, 3 because it can't tell 10, 4 and 8. So when a new packet, when we actually export this to a new file, so it starts numbering as 1, 2, 3 because it doesn't know what the origin number was. It need not know, it shouldn't know what the origin number was. So I'll close this and I'll open this once again. And what I will do is, say for example, I'll remove this, I'll unmark this, and what I want is, I'll also unmark this, and I'll also unmark this. Okay, but I'll mark packet number 2 and I'll mark packet number 7. So I have 4 packets. Means here if I just selected mark packets, it will just select 2 and 7. But if I want from 2 to 7, I have 2 options. Okay, so what I can do is I can say export specified packets and I can say first to last marked. Okay, so here since it's the numbering is different, it is taking let me just cancel it and let me say sort a number. Okay, so it was not sorted out number. So now let me just unmark it and I say I want only 2 to 4. So I want just only 3 packets. If I say export marked, so if I go to export specified packets, if I say mark packets, it will select only 2. But if I select first to last marked, it will also select the packet in between that which is not marked. So this is the way of identifying, like instead of clicking every packet, I can say go from this packet to that packet, export all these things. Okay, and I will say first, yes, save it. And if I go to file and if I go to F, so you can see the 3 packets instead of 2 packets. Okay, and if I come back to my Wireshark and I'll uncheck this and I'll unmark this, and I also have a range. Okay, so this is slightly range. So here what to give range, so let me say 1 to 10. Okay, so you can give a range like this. This 10 thing means, what this 1 to 10 means, it means this number. Okay, this number. So let us say we want all these lengths which are there. So I want from 4 to 8. Let's see whether I can do 2 ways. So I can mark this like this, 4 and 8, and say first to last. So since there is also a range thing, so let's see whether it works. I will say 4, and I also want to see whether it takes the first packet in the range and the last packet in the range, or whether it just takes in between that range. So I will say 4 to 8. Okay, is it 8? Just yes, 4 to 8. Okay, so I will say this as R, save it, minimize this, the main window, come to R, so it took it, so 4 to 8. Okay, so we have two options there in export specified packets. So there is a packet you can ignore also. So if you want, you can ignore this packet. Okay, so that won't be captured. Means if I want to say file now, save as export specified packets, I can say remove ignore packets. So don't send that ignore packet to the other person. So it works with all these things. Okay. So hope you got how to select and how to pick some packets. Now let us come to another very important option. So let me close this and come to my actual window. Where is my actual window? Okay. Now there is like capture, and if I come to options, okay, and select this, there is output. Okay. Now there are two formats, PCAP NG and CCAP. PCAP NG, PCAP. PCAP NG has a lot of other information. It carries metadata, give more details. Means it doesn't matter for this session, so we will see what actually means changes. So if you are running some old Wireshark installation, it might not have PCAP NG. It might not have many of these. So means just upgrade your PCAP. Means your Wireshark thing. Okay. Now let us do this. Okay. Let's say is I want to create a new file. Okay. When I was capturing, I was not saving any file as such. It was just capturing. Okay. Now I want to create files, and I have to give a path. I'll give that for every say 10 kilobytes. Okay. And I will save this 10 kilobytes. Okay. And what I will do is I'll go to browse, and I'll go to my desktop, and I'll say capture, and I will create a new folder, say kilobytes, and select this folder and save this. Means I'll save as test. I have to give a name, so I will say KB. Okay, and save it. So I just have to give a name here. Okay, and I want to create a new file automatically after every 10 kilobytes. It depends on why you need this. It depends. You want to check if you see an unusual pattern that it happens only at a particular means first 10 kilobytes or first 20 kilobytes of your traffic you're entering, and again after 100 kilobytes it gives. So you have to figure out where exactly you have to what the size of the file should be. So again it gives up to gigabytes. So it's very flexible in that range. But if you are gigabytes, then say suppose you have a compilance requirement, so you have to save all your packet captures. If you're doing it in for a government thing, whatever you're capturing, there you can give gigabytes. It depends on the need actually. So let us start this. Okay, so 10 kilobytes. I have saved this. So let me start this. So let me see after what happened. Let me go to my desktop. It should have been very quick. Did I choose the proper options? Okay, output 10 packets, not output, sorry. Oh, this I have to remove it. So this I have to remove it. I didn't remove it, so it stopped after 10 packets. Now it will work fine. So let us start this. So you can see here, you can see that there are many files happening. So I'll stop it, otherwise I'll have thousands of files. Okay, I have to go here, and okay, it stopped. It was so fast that even if I press stop, it didn't stop. Okay, now I'll go to this folder and show you the files created. It was in capture, and if I go to KB, you can see so many files which were created, and see the date. It's 19th, and see like the first file was already there, and see it's around 10 kilobytes or 11 kilobytes. So I set it to be 10 kilobytes. So, and the last one it stopped at 5 kilobytes because I pressed stop continuously. Okay. So we can also do this, and we can also go here in Wireshark, and we can say file set list files. Okay, file set list files. So it shows for this particular thing what are the files. So you can also see here, and it also shows where it is saved. So this is one handy. You need not go to actually the particular folder and see. Okay. Now what I will do is I'll say go to capture, and I'll go to options, and I'll go to output, and I will say and I'll remove this. This you have to be very careful, otherwise and I'll click this. So this is very handy now. I'll say select capture automatically after 10 files. Okay, and what I will do is I'll also go to output, and I will say stop this, and I'll go say after 5 seconds, and instead of too many files, let me say after 5 files. Okay, so we'll have 25 seconds. So I said after 5 seconds stop the capture, and instead of kilobytes, every 5 seconds create a file, which is again a very handy option. And instead of this path, because we have so many files there, I will choose a different path. I'll go to capture and say new folder T, means time, and I'll start with T. Okay, save it. So this is up to you. You can customize where you want. So I'll start it now. So it will create. It should create 5 files. Okay, and then let's see whether this works, and say start. So it was, if you see, since I've given 5 seconds, it's not as fast as 10 kilobytes. So 5 seconds in networking world is sometimes infinite time. Okay, so we are just waiting for it to stop. Let's see whether it stops. Okay, now it stopped here. So if I go to file, a list, file set and list file, I can see only 5 files. Okay, now there is one more option which is very handy. Instead of giving all these things, I can recycle my things. So I'll go here and say remove this, and I'll come here and say remove this also, and I will say use a ring buffer with 2 files, and here I will say I'll choose both. Okay, so whichever is minimum will happen. So if I choose both, it will take whichever is minimum, and it will create only 2 files. So the 2 files will be recycled. Okay, so first file when it is full for 10 kilobytes, or if it is full after 2 seconds, it will go to the second file. If second file is full, it comes to the first file, recycles it, removes all the content. So again, it's up to you what you want to do. So you can again increase how many files you want. If you are, we'll use this option a lot because your storage is limited, and all these things are happening in memory. Your memory is limited. If too much thing happens, you will crash your computer and you will lose everything. So if you lose everything, there is no point in analysis. Okay, so let us start this and let's see what happens. Oh, I have to go to options. I'll remove this. Why it gave that?
So Nance, could you give us what the significance of the ring buffer again? The question popped up in chat.
Sure. That's what I'm doing.
Yep.
1 second. I'll say, oh, okay, I'll do this thing. I'll create a new folder here. Okay, good question. So before I start that, I will just say R. Now, say I'll also remove this this one. Okay, I'll choose this. If I go to this folders here in the capture, so here it captured, it created a capture file after every means 10 kilobytes. Okay, from here. Don't worry about the first one because first one is when we started it. So it has captured all the 10 kilobytes. So whenever the 10 kilobyte size was full, it created a file. Okay, so this is one option, or we can use time. So if I go to capture, so every 2 seconds or 5 seconds, it created a file, whatever options we gave. Now, say we don't want that. We want like something, say we have 5 files like this. So when we reach the last file, we will not, when we give a number in the ring buffer, say we give 5. So after we reach the 5th file, it should not create the 6th file. It should go to the first file and remove it and create the 6th file there. So we'll have only 5 files at any time. So again, why we need this? We need this, say for example, it's like a tail command in Linux. So tail command, what it does, we want to see only the last entries in a log file. We need not see the entire thing. Okay, so we need not see the entire thing. We just want to see the last few log entries, so to figure out what has happened. Similarly, in packet analysis, we need not see what happened yesterday. We want to see what happened today and say 1 hour before it. So that's where the ring buffer comes. If you want to see everything, then there is no need to use ring buffer. So it depends on your needs actually. So it will be very clear when I start this capture now. So means instead of 2 files, let me give 5 files, okay, and 10 kilobytes, because we can see what is happening. And let's see, I'll give an R. Okay, let me start this. Couldn't create signal pipes. All pipe instances are busy. So I have opened many things, or let me go and see whether I've chosen any options in pipe here. Okay, let me do this. Okay, let me just restart this because I think there were too many Wireshark instances open. So just let me give it this is nice one, which if we can make it run. So capture options Wi-Fi. Okay, output select 10 kilobytes. Use a ring buffer with 5 files. Okay, options, everything looks fine. Input, advanced, manage interfaces, and I have to choose the. Okay, this was the issue. Okay, now let's see whether this works. Okay, now if you see here, if I go to file set, list files, let me do capture once again that particular thing. It's giving me some piping error. Okay, let me see. Some internal Wireshark thing, so I don't know why it is giving this error. Let me see. Let me just try this. It created this ring files, okay, all these 5 files, but I wanted to show you how it automatically happens. So if you see, it created these files, but again let me give KB, since there is nothing there. We removed everything, and suddenly it's giving an error. Okay, I'll say R. Okay, now I will say every 10 kilobytes and use this ring buffer with 5 files. Okay, let us start. Did I select that interface? Capture options Wi-Fi. And what is happening here is it's creating that file, but the list files is not working. So if I go to this particular thing, and if I go to capture, and if I go to ring, it is creating these files. So if you see here, there were some earlier, so it creates files, and when it is come back, it is facing some error. So I'll see whether it's this error is regarding only this Wireshark version. Anyhow, in the next session we'll test it. It's not a big problem. Okay. So that is the ring buffer thing. So let us go to the next thing and add something very interesting. Okay. Now instead of that, what I will do is I'll open this. Let me close this Wireshark. Okay, and I'll open some malware file. Okay, this is a malware file from malwaretrafficanalysis.net. Now here is like two things I want to do. Is like I want to see HTTP request. It's there here. So info. So I want to see from which host it is coming from. The host part of HTTP. So if I come here, what I mean is if I just double click here, and I want to see this host, okay, and I want to see this this particular thing. So what I can do here is, and I don't need the length, so I will remove this column. And also, if it's up to you if you want to remove the time. In this case, let's remove the time also, or we can actually remove this column. Okay, and now what I want to do is like if I and I come here and I will say right double click this, scroll down, and I'll say add this host, apply as a column. Okay, now you'll see this host thing and what file it is. Again, if I come here and say only HTTP, so you will see like when you analyze, it becomes very handy. Okay, so you have this protocol, and you have this the host. So you'll come to know from which host we are getting which particular file. So from getc.exe, we are getting from 93. Okay, and this is a response, and this is a request, and this is a response, and this is a request. I can rename this also, so I'll show you how to rename that in a while. So what I want again, what I want is next to source, I want the source port, and next to destination. Yes, I finished this echo. You can start the polling, and then we'll come back. I'll take another 10 to 12 minutes. So what I will do is I want the source port here, and I want the destination port here. Okay. So what I will do is I'll come to what you have to do is whatever you want, just go to this packet details column. Okay, and just click here and select this source port and say apply as a column. Okay, it is somewhere else. I'll show you. It went somewhere else. No worries. And we can. I want the destination port also. We'll say apply as a column. Okay. Now you can also move like this if you want. Source port. So source port came here, and I want the destination port here. I want the destination port here. Okay. Now, what you can also do is you can go to edit, preferences. Okay, and columns. So here it's there. So you can add a column or you can rename a column. And here if I come here and I can say instead of host, I'll say HTTP host. So that makes sense, right? Instead of this thing. So it has already got HTTP host. This is the field which Wireshark refers. HTTP host is the title. Okay, and if I say OK, so it got changed. Now, Echo, you can start the.
Yeah, I was just waiting for a good pause. So we're at the top of the hour. I know some of you have other things that you need to go to. I'm going to open the poll, but Anant is going to continue to present, and we're going to continue to watch the Q&A. So I am opening the poll now, and it will be open for approximately 5 minutes. If you could give us our feedback, that would be great.
So I'll close this for my polling thing. Okay. Now, say means it looks very odd, right? Like means not this is fine, but I can change. See the color here. Okay. So the coloring is somewhat is like I want one color for HTTP request and one color for HTTP response. Okay, that will make my life easy. So to do that, what we can do is a view, and we will say we'll go to coloring rules. Okay, and this is like a hierarchical thing. Okay, so now why this is something like this, why is this, even though I have HTTP here, okay, it is somewhat like purple. If I say I'm very weak at naming colors, so if I know red, blue, green, yellow, and orange and all those things, but if you ask me some very strange color, I might not know. So I think it is purple or light blue or whatever it is. So don't think that I'm colorblind. So I'm getting that color. So but I can't name it properly. So this color, actually, if you see here, why it is this color is because TCP is this color, has been given this color, and this coloring rule works in a hierarchical fashion. Okay, it's a light blue. Thanks, Echo. So it's like it works in a hierarchical fashion. So it's like whatever is at top will get the thing. So if I just take this HTTP and if I move this above TCP, okay, and say okay, so it changes. So why got changed is it's very simple. Oh, thanks. So if I go to coloring rules, so why it got changed is because HTTP is above TCP. Now if I again move TCP above HTTP, okay, again it gets changed. Now that's okay, but let's do be careful when you are actually changing the coloring rules. You have to know that this is a hierarchical thing. Okay. Now let's do this. I want all the HTTP requests to have some orange color. Okay. So for that I will press this plus button here. Okay. And I will say a new coloring rule. I'll select this and I will come here and I will say HTTP name. So I will say name can be anything. I'll say HTTP request.
Just to remind everybody, we have 2 minutes left in the poll. You can find it on the right-hand side of your screen. Thank you.
I can stop for a minute. You can complete your poll. No worries. I'll stop for a minute. We can pause the recording. I'll just stop for a minute, and I'll see if there are any Q&As during that time. So again, I'll come back quickly. So
yeah,
please
so we do have three questions that have popped up. Somebody asked, if I'm using a VPN, will I be able to capture the packets passing through the IPsec tunnel?
No. No. See. Means when we have VPN, we'll actually we'll be using the VPN adapter. So I I can show it here, but we'll lose the connection. Means in the next if I'm at my home, I would have shown it because yesterday. Let me see whether I saved something yesterday. Hopefully yesterday I saved this.
So we have about 1 minute left in the poll, and there's about 50 of you that haven't started yet. We'd love your feedback.
Okay, so here I don't have it because I didn't save yesterday from my home. So if there was ESP, so what happens is when I select an adapter to capture, and when packet capture happens, is like it will capture after the encryption part is over. So we cannot see what is happening because that is the process of IPsec, right? Before the packet enters the queue, it is actually done its work. So I can capture only the packet which get transmitted. So and which packets enter. So when packet is entering, definitely it's ESP or AH if I'm using IPsec, and if it is coming out, definitely it has been encrypted. Hope I answered your question. We can't. Means what we can do is the only thing we can do here is if I cancel this is like I think in tools or where is it? We have this where we can actually get the SSL keys here, export SSL session keys, and actually we can decrypt SSL traffic. Wireshark alone, it can't do anything. You have to give it keys. It's just capturing. So in IPsec, if I don't know the entire decryption thing, it will not decrypt.
Okay. One other question was, how can we capture packets with CRC errors?
There is, means we can, if I go to preferences, say, if I go to protocols, and if I say, let me see Ethernet itself. How it names Ethernet is important here. Every protocol, these are all dissectors, so Ethernet, and you can hear, he can here say validate the Ethernet checksum if possible. Just uncheck this, so the CRC error is gone. Okay, even if there is CRC error. Let me keep it bigger.
I'll try the next one here. It says, can we schedule the packet capturing using Linux, is it Cron tab?
Yes, we can do
for later analysis using some Wireshark CLI.
I have means I had this idea to show it, but because of the time I didn't go and do an R&D. But we can surely schedule when the packet capture starts and when the packet capture stops. It can be surely done.
Okay. And then Anant, do you have that external polling link? I do not have it on my computer.
1 second.
Yep. Thank you. Sorry.
Where was it? Let me just stop sharing it.
I thought it was in WebEx Teams, but I couldn't find it.
No, give me 1 second. I have it.
Okay, thank you. I have about 4 people who asked for it, so I want to make sure we make it available to them.
Okay, I'm putting it in the chat box, and then I'll start my session. I'm sending it to you. Chat. Okay, just okay. Now let me start my thing. So my screen, and let me close this, and let me go to Wireshark. Okay, we were in the coloring rules, and after this we'll stop it. So the timing thing we can cover it later. So since we have many sessions, so if I go to options, edit, view coloring rules, okay, and now I will add a rule here, and I'll say HTTP. Yes, sir. Echo just posted in the link there. HTTP request. Okay, and filter. This is where you have to know, like HTTP, and when I type HTTP, it's like your programming functions. When you have programs, when you have to give attributes or parameters, you can type and it comes up like in a tab thing. Same thing here. So as you know, HTTP is a very complicated protocol, and if I say HTTP request, okay, and what I have to do is I have to choose a color here. So I'll choose a background color. I will choose this orange one, if it is orange, okay. And let's see what happens after we run this. So HTTP request is this color, and TCP is this color. So anything which is not HTTP request will have this blue, light blue, and we'll have this orange for HTTP request. If I say OK, so you can see that only the first one didn't come up. When we run it again, it will come. So and afterwards, it's doing its work properly. Okay. So I can, let me see. After this, everything came. So only the first packet didn't take. Now let's complete this, and let's go to capture. View coloring rules, and I will add one more. I will drag this up. Okay. I'll say HTTP. Remove this entire thing and say HTTP response, and here I'll come and say HTTP dot response. Okay, and if I say OK, now I have to choose the color. So background, I will say which one we want. Let's pick this one. Okay, and say OK. So now it took. So I had to be very patient. I was wondering why it was not taking it. So now you can see, like, this is HTTP and this is HTTP host, and also here actually we can see the response. So this is the request and this is the response. I wanted to show you one very thing which I missed, which is very handy. So now, say for example, this is called packet details bytes. But if I go to edit, okay, and preferences, and if I go to layout, this is not the only one layout which we have. It depends. So for example, I want so the number one indicates packet list, so we can change whichever is number one, whichever is number two, and whichever is number three. Number two is by default. This is the default one. So one is packet list, so second is packet details, and third one is packet bytes. I don't want this thing, so I want this. Okay, I want the one side is my packet list and other side is packet details. So it depends on how you want it. So if I choose this and if I drag this up and if I say OK, now why I did this is now it becomes easy for me. So for example, I know, and if I just adjust this, you can adjust this accordingly, okay, or you can hide this also. And if I just drag this a little bit, okay, now I can come back to HTTP. I can see what exactly is happening here. Okay, if I choose this and choose this and choose this and choose this, so this becomes very handy. And also, if I don't want this byte, so I can come to edit, I can come to preferences, and if I can go to layout, and I can say I don't want to see none. I don't want to see packet list at all. Okay, packet bytes at all. I just want to see packet list and packet details, and I'm choosing this. I don't want this three. Three in this case is packet bytes. If I say OK, now I'll not see this, so I can use this the entire thing. I can if I don't want, if I'm not interested at all. Okay, and also what I can do is I can hide this in the column. So I think I can remove this. Say for example, I can remove no, so it gives me some space. I can remove even the destination port, so it gives some space. I can see. It depends on how you want to analyze. So I can remove the HTTP host also if it is possible, because I know green means response, orange means request. One more thing is, like, if you're confused what I'm doing and if you want to go back, you can go back easily and say restore defaults. Okay, it comes back to our original screen. And the one thing which and if you want to remove all the coloring here, just say click this, so it will remove all the coloring. Okay, and if you press once again, all your coloring rules come. Coloring rules gone. I just wanted to, means the timing thing I will cover it. I don't want to extend it a lot. So in the next, okay, just to see what we are planning to do in the next session is I want to show you the conversations, what is happening with some attacks in place. So while we are having denial of service attack or network scanning thing, we will do that. We'll also see the graph, okay, and we'll see how to use this graphs if possible. There's also expert systems in Wireshark. There are many things we can do, and also if you come HTTP, and you can, if you click on statistics request, you can see all the HTTP requests instead of doing all the circus we did. We could have done easily and come here. This helps a lot. Okay, and also if I come to, we can also create profiles for this. We'll also do that, and so that we are very, the basics of Wireshark. Okay, and I'll also figure out why that ring buffer was not working, whether it's something to do with my internal security or whether it's something that I'll figure that out. And if I stop sharing it, and if I go to my slides so quickly. So we covered, I didn't cover only this timing part, which we'll cover. What I if I just maximize this. So next we'll cover display filters, which are very important, and the statistics and the graphics, and later my discussion with my team is like, we have to do something like we'll plan is to take IP and understand all the features of IP using Wireshark and all the features of TCP using Wireshark that is in the radar. So we'll discuss that and also do some Marvel analysis, discuss some dissectors, and also use C#, the command and interface for Wireshark for security analysis. So a lot of things planned, so it depends on our time and all those things. So that's it from my side. Any questions which are still pending, Echo?
No, the only issue that we had was the session names have not been updated on that link for the poll. I'll send a message to Mark, Semyon, and Kara during WebEx Teams, but I think we're in pretty good shape. It seems like everything's been answered, and a phenomenal job making it easy to understand and showing me a lot of things that I didn't even know existed. So thank you for that.
No. Even I until I experimented, I never knew, like, because Wireshark is a very big tool, and there are a lot of things there. So let's see how much
and I was starting to think of some great ideas to make your students turn certain things in and only capture certain packets maybe in the classroom and getting them to understand it a little better. There are some great things they could submit.
Sure.
So thank you, everybody. I do apologize for those of you that went to the external poll and the list was not correct. If you want to select the first one in the list, which is the SNMP, that's fine. That was the first one last time, and I'll work to get that information updated. If you want, you can wait, and hopefully we'll have that updated. As my cohorts are still in bed and waking up, they might get that updated for us. So it's, morning for Ananth or midday, and it's evening for me. So we cover about 13 different time zones across the globe. So thanks, everybody, for joining. Ananth, stellar job as normal.
Thanks.
I don't see any other questions popping up at this time.
Let me just finally do a check if there are any questions.
I think just lots of thank yous.
No worries. Can we schedule? I'll check, Prasun, sir. I will check that Linux cron tab. I have to check it because I think it can be surely it can surely be done. I just want to check it and see whether it works. So let's see. Okay, so no questions. Thank you, Echo. So the next session starts in another 45 minutes. So SDN clustering by Sharda sir. So very interesting topic. So be there, and we'll make so. Thank you very much, Echo.
Thank you. Everybody have a great day. Hopefully you'll enjoy. We have 5 more technical sessions coming up. And remember, we'll post materials within usually 24 to 48 hours of the session.
Okay, thanks a lot. See you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a great day, Ananth. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sure.
Bye
Take
tomorrow.
Rest. Take rest. Good night. Bye.